This is Wilson Morales with Black Film and TV, and your interview may begin.
Hi. Hello, folks. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So, how do you feel now that this series have picked up a whole bigger audience throughout this pandemic crisis where, the first 2 seasons came on, fans of the show catched it, but then, throughout the summer, it got a whole new audience and people started picking it up. They're like, oh, when is season 3 coming up? And it's coming up in January.
Yeah, and we're over the moon. I don't think anyone could have expected such a great turnout. I know that it's a little bit interesting having it, a couple of years later. It feels like a little bit of a second coming, but we're gonna take it. We're gonna turn the an inch into a mile. So I feel like it's. I hope just the beginning of this Cobra Kai legacy, and our audience will only grow.
Mm-hmm. Jacob, honestly, even both of you can answer this. How much training are you guys doing for this? How good are your skills?
In the off season, we don't do a ton of training. I think all of us just try to keep active. But while we are on set, we do a surprising amount of stretching. A lot of the training is stretching just to be able to, kick people in the face because you got to get your foot up there. And a lot of it is, just working choreography. And they make us do way too many push-ups. You got to tell them to stop making us do push-ups. It's too much. It's too much for anybody. But yeah, we do train a lot for the show and the skills are pretty good.
So obviously we know you're not going to die, but last season it was kind of like, okay, we're not going to have a death scene here. How traumatic was it knowing like, hey, am I going back next season?
You know what? Luckily, my panic was put to a halt because I knew basically right away that we were going to be coming back. But I think what the best part is that you are kind of left on that cliffhanger. And, luckily for me, I know what's going to happen, but I really can't imagine being in the footsteps of someone who, or being in the shoes of someone who is not kind of aware of that. It's a little bit exciting on my part because I get to, sit here with you and be like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen. But I think at the end of the day, Miguel is not out for good. I think this may be a little bit of a speed bump along the way, but nothing that we can't get past.
Jacob, whose idea was it to do your hairstyle? Do you have a say in it?
What's actually really interesting is the mohawk in season 1 is just like a kind of a classic mohawk when it's blue. And then when it's red at the very beginning of the second season, it's red. It's still like that similar. And I had just made a brief suggestion like, hey, like it would be pretty cool to do Liberty spikes on the mohawk. And then it ended up happening. So I've actually never gotten that question. So that's a pretty cool question. But yeah, I did kind of have a little input to have them put in some Liberty spikes into the mohawk.
Well,
I think it looks better. Yeah.
The fans are waiting to see this in January. Brand new audience. Get your social media accounts ready. Answer some questions. Have fun, guys. Keep it going. Take care.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Good talking to you.